not gonna lift his fucking self. Welcome to the Warehouse Gym channel, you guys. Adam Steele here. We're gonna do a couple things, some tips and tricks on like activation, proper form, and things like that on what most consider a simple exercise. If your trainer's standing around not paying attention to you, not checking your form, not making sure you're focusing, motivating, and breathing, things like that, not training you, and they're just worried about tagging you in something or not even paying attention, I'm like, you're fucking with the wrong person, all right? We've got professionals in the Warehouse that are dedicated to their clients, their stories, their progress, and things like that. We do a lot of posts and we keep it fun and real, but we don't waste time and we don't spend the whole session fucking around like almost everyone else around, you know, in the fitness community and things like that. So let's get into it. I'm gonna show you guys a couple things. My background, as a lot of you know, retired Ranger vet from the Army, airborne. Also, I went to school at the University of Utah. I have a degree in physiology with biomechanics and nutrition, and background physiology, and as well as physics. I majored in physics. I have a second BS in science. So, been an ISSA certified fitness trainer for a very long time. I don't practice as a trainer regularly. That's not my career path. But I also built the war machines in the Warehouse Gym. I know a thing or two between competing and friends and things like that, and working with all the mentors and the years of experience in the fitness industry, a thing or two about how to activate a muscle group. I've had multiple back surgeries, heart surgeries, and things like that, so we're gonna see what we can do. But anyway, outside of that, let's get ahead and jump into it. See if we can't learn a little something cool about targeting that might help you out if you see this, some of this new YouTube series that might like click and key in and you'd be like, oh wow, I'm hitting that, I'm feeling it. You know, left to right, you know, more symmetry, balance, things like that, a little bit more activation, that like pump feel, like just really having it. And so we're gonna jump into it, so let's get it. One of my favorites, working out like back and warming up, a huge thing for activating like lats, scapulas, rhomboids, flexors, and also most importantly, your rotator cuffs. Now like your rotator cuffs that connect your shoulders and your arms and all those things, underlie three primary connection points. And one is through your chest, pectoralis, underneath, across, linking the shoulder socket joint. The other one is directly through and over and underneath, kind of like through, if you will, of under your collarbone. And then the other one is going to be that draws back from here and underneath your scapula. And a lot of people get that, you know, those knotted joints and things like that when they have to have body work done and all that with, you know, your back getting tight underneath your shoulder blades, things like that. So a really good warm up for shoulders, arms, pushing, pulling, anything like that is hanging shrugs. So essentially a reverse shrug where you're doing a pull up, but you're only using the range of motion that you have in the stretch and pulling in, essentially in rotating your scapulas from your back in a hanging position. I'll show you right now. Yeah, that's a great one for like when you're warming up your back. Also too, I like to do it on bench press days because you like, you know, you tighten everything, super good. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of jump into a simple lat pull down, if you will. And what we're focusing on is a lot of people, a couple friends and competitors that have these coaches that are online and you're trying to get advice, you wanna get ready for a show, things like these. You don't really have a lot of on-site, in-person training. Not a lot of people can afford that and things like this. And so you don't really think, oh, I'll just, you know, I'm in pretty good shape. You know, I got a good form, I'll train myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people do. But without like certain types of help, the closer you get to a show and depletion and all things like that, your training, especially younger generations, like people early 20s, things like that, your training should change with your prep. Like where you're hitting more, you know, high volume density, hitting more, you know, intensity, things like that, time under tension, and manipulating the modalities of your training specifically for getting density as well as muscle maturity and activation for symmetry and things like that. One key thing I see a lot of people mess with that they haven't been able to figure out is like a basic lat pull down. Every jackass in every gym does the same thing. They pull really hard, they swing from their lower back and then just squeeze their shoulder blades together, stuff like that. Let me demonstrate a couple different movements and see if you can see the difference and see if it helps. And essentially, like when you're posing and you come up and you are like here and you want to come forward into a pose and bring your shoulders forward and down, you're moving your elbows up and then coming and pulling down as you rotate out, and essentially trying to get your flare of your lats obviously as wide and as tight as possible, you know, on stage, showing as much, you know, symmetry as well as density and even and lines and, you know, all that definition that you can. And so with the exercise, you should in your mind kind of think the same way in moving, that you can do this in a couple different ways to achieve that. So let's see what we can do here and see if it makes sense. So if I was doing a front double bi or the standard front relaxed where you're flaring your back, you're right there. And you can feel right underneath your armpit and shoulder blade, that tension in your lats right there. Then you can lean back into it and bring it more down and squeeze your scapulas together for a more full range and a little bit lower and mid back behind and underneath your shoulder blades. And you see there. And so here, doing that shrug all the way back and down, then down for a full contraction. So allowing my scapulas to shrug reverse all the way up for a full stretch, rotate flex my lower back and spine erectors into this position, and then pull them back just there, and then all the way through with the arms for a full squeeze. If you're seeing that, starting to key in and make sense, give it a try next time, a little bit of time under tension, trying to feel it, and mess with your body positions of upright, flare, and then sit back and try not to swing too much. Try to engage your core and your spine erectors and get that natural curve to your spine, and then use your back to pull your shoulder blades, and then all the way through for a better feel. Let me know what you guys think. A good little tip, but there's a couple of ways that you should be manipulating a simple exercise to target and develop more of density and thickness in your back, as well as areas that struggle that maybe you weren't even aware of. So, awesome. Another quick, cool tip, I guess, here at the Warhouse Gym with me in some of the stuff we do. A lot of people don't know how to stretch your bicep, right? You get cramps, you see these TikTokers tearing their biceps, being silly and all that, whether that's performance enhancing with terrible mobility and blood chemistry and things like that, and then just overloading, soft tissue versus dense tissue, connective tissue, things like that. We could go on and on. But a really great tip real quick to stretch your bicep, a lot of people don't know, is just like, how do I stretch my bicep, right? Well, little do people know, unless you have some background with anatomy and education, your bicep connects, obviously, from your brachia to your elbow, all right? And the insertion actually isn't at your shoulder, it's underneath in your back. And so your bicep is connected deep underneath. So the best way to stretch this is obviously to reach out, right, and stretch. You feel that? Now, just like raising and flexing your foot for your hamstring stretch to accentuate it, watch this. We're going to reach out, straight from our bodies, straight out. We're going to make a fist. We're going to flex our forearm and fist down, and then we're going to roll our elbow back. And you see that? And then you're going to feel it all the way across, touching that back there. So one more time. Hands out, palms down, make a fist, flex your forearms in and down, and then rotate your elbows forward and back. And then feel it all the way up. That's great. It's a great stretch. Yeah. Anyway, it's a really good one, and that's a quick tip on how to stretch your biceps a lot of people aren't aware of. And so that'll help with elbow and shoulder mobility and things like that. All right, stay tuned. All right, you guys, we're gonna demonstrate a couple simple variations and tips on how to use and maximize essentially like a low row, a cable row for the back. And so I have a really nice close grip, kind of a A-frame grip right here. And so I'm gonna demonstrate a good setup and then how you can kind of articulate from the classic full-on, full back, bent over, full extension, flexion stretch that you've seen like classic to like Arnold versus like some more controlled, like stabilized core and like erect spine as far as a full stretch and range of motion, so you can kind of see what we're working with here. So, all right, let's go through a couple. Okay, so Cobalt knows right here that it's important, obviously, to get a full stretch. So stretch and let it all the way out, okay? Until you feel it down your hamstrings is good, one full way, kind of like the classic Arnold, and then back, a full flexion and erect the spine to neutral, and then squeeze your scapulas and then in with the arms for that full complete contraction in the rear delts, rhomboids, and lats all the way down. So full stretch, let it go, get that good stretch, get the muscles completely extended, and then up and back. Boom, there we go. And depending on your height and things like that, you can put blocks or try to set yourself further away or closer. There's a couple different platforms and ways. I've seen people put little platform pads in front for shorter folks and people who have a lot more mobility than I do. Cool. Right, then one other simple one is beginning with your back already erect and then keeping your core tight and then just simply squeezing and focusing on the smaller muscles. Forward, stretch, kind of stretch, let your upper back round as you keep a neutral spine, and then bring it all the way back and through. You can kind of see that. Hey guys, thanks for joining me here at the Warhouse Gym on a couple cool, quick tips and tricks and some little things. Let us know if it was helpful, if you try it out and you feel something as far as like a better connection, a better pump, more range of motion, a little things that are helping. You know what, we're gonna bring more with some of our other athletes and things like that throughout the rest of the channel. So stay tuned, we appreciate you, and don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know how it went. All right, we'll see you guys.